I'm excited to have Paden Bray on the podcast today. I've known Peyton since he was a young, aspiring roper. My earliest memory of him was at the George Strait roping. I saw him watching every run while standing on a barrel by the heel box. Fast forward a handful of years, I took Peyton under my wing in the summer of 2016 as a traveling partner, and we roped together for a season. Now I'm proud to see this young man charging in the scene and starting to make a name for himself. Peyton won the 2019 PRCA Rookie of the Year. In 2020, he came out with a bang. That year, he made the NFR, won his first round, won the NFR average, and was the reserve world champion heeler. He's on his way to his third NFR this year at the young age of 24. Hey, this is Charlie. I switched gears from a professionally competing team roper to building my brand in order to educate and inspire. My new website will be the foundation for this new venture, Charlie Crawford Training. I will be showcasing the variety of clinics I'm teaching in the upcoming years, opportunities to host one of my clinics, podcasts, videos, articles, gear, and other content on my site, charliecrawfordtraining.com. I need you to head over there and enter your email in the prompt on my new website. That way I can keep you updated on my new offerings and you can stay in the know. That's www.charliecrawfordtraining.com. Get your email in there and keep roping for the pay window. Man, what a bounce back year. Tell me about last year, 2022, 17th in the world. How shy was you?
Like $240 some, I think.
How was that?
9th or 10th place check split somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. How was that battling back from this year?
It's probably maybe one of the best things ever happened to me in a way. I'm going to look at it in a positive way. I come off being 2-time reserve world champ, being 22. I think I made the first finals when I was 21. And, having that age and mentality of feeling like you're, bulletproof, nothing really can stop you. You deserve to be there. You're supposed to be there. And then still had a pretty dang good year. Like, won a lot of rodeos. I think Rogers and I won like close to 10 rodeos maybe. And then still come up short. And then, you can kind of let it go one way or the other. You know what I mean? And so I really had to kind of swallow my pride a little bit, fight off the demons, and come back and hit a reset button and really think about what I was at and what I was doing, because I knew mentally it would have been easy to go off a cliff or go one way or the other if I let it. You know what I mean? Roping it's what we do. It's not who we are, and I really had to battle with that a little bit, I feel like. That was one of the biggest things I feel like I had to overcome.
So in 2023, start roping with your best friend.
Yes,
Brenton
sir.
Hall.
Yeah. Brent and I, we got a lot of history. I think I'm a year and a half older than him. We grew up together, going to the calf ropings together when we were 10, 12 years old, high school rodeo together, made the American with him in 2017. I was a senior in high school. I think he was a junior. And, like I said, one of my best friends. He's just a great person, a great jolly giant kind of guy, like just happy-go-lucky. And the guy can head some steers. Mm-hmm. It was almost a great year, but for the fact that I wish that I could have got him there.
Right.
But year in, year out, I mean, that guy was awesome, and I really, really enjoyed it.
So from 2022 to 2023, last year you didn't make the NFR. This year you make the NFR. Do you think you made any changes in your heeling, or do you just think that things more aligned? What do you think the difference was between making it from this year to not making it from last year?
This year, I will say I feel like my heeling was percentage-wise and catch ratio-wise, everything was the same.
Okay.
The winter-wise, you know how the winters are. Mm-hmm. In 22, did not have a good winter. I think I had 10,001 when I left at Reno, and I had a boxing fracture in my hand, and I showed up to Reno with 10 rodeos and 10,000, and I was going to try to make the finals. And it was kind of a long shot, and we almost pulled it off, and just kind of one of them deals where we tried them on and it didn't work. And then this year, Brent and I had a pretty dang good winter, had like close to, I think I went out there with, around maybe 30,001, And so that's a big difference. You know, that's a lot more comfortability, kind of right around the top 15. And then after 4th of July, we were in the top 15, or at least close enough right around there the rest of the year to where you can maintain your spot. Not so. I wasn't even in 22. I didn't crack the top, I'm going to say 20 or 30 until Cheyenne. I mean, it was before Cheyenne where we won a check over $2,500. So we won a lot of
That's tough to make up.
two $5,000 checks. Yes.
So it's hard to get in all the good rodeos.
Yes. So that's a big difference. I mean, like when Cheyenne is when I barely cracked the top 20. So it was a difference in, you know, strategy, I guess, and just how the cards fell.
So what did you end up when the dust settled this year? What did you end up? 11th in the world.
And then that's what's crazy.
And your partner was 16th.
16th, and we had $1,800 in differential money. Rogers and I won the first round of the circuit finals for the new year, and that money counted. And Brenton and I only had $1,800 differential, and he was 16th, and I'm 11th.
And the Heelan's always kind of known every year to be a little bit lower.
Yes.
15th in the head.
Yes.
Head, and what is it, usually a few thousand or 5,000?
Yeah, I don't know. It's always different. I know Jake Clay and Nelson Wyatt had a couple different partners throughout the year, and I think that's what kind of threw it off just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just funny how it never works out where it honestly 15-15. It just never. There's always a couple mix-up teams.
So how about the drama with all the healing that's going on right now? We're 2 weeks out from the NFR, and it's still kind of up in the air on who's really going to the NFR. It started off first.
Yep.
First Paden was in, or first Colby was in after the Governor's Cup. Then
yes, sir.
After the Governor's Cup, then it was Worley.
Yes, sir.
Then Colby filed a grievance.
Yes, sir.
And then now 2 weeks out, now Colby's in. Worley's out.
Yep.
Last I heard. What's your take on that? I'm just a retired guy from the outside. You're in the middle of it. So what's going on in there?
Yeah, we might as well be in a college frat house with just nothing but drama. But there's all kind of drama going on in our world right now. But
team roping's notorious for that anyway.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Obviously, yeah, because you're usually married, so you're married for seasons or months or for rodeos or whatever. But yeah, so there's a lot of possibilities that are getting thrown around right now, and I feel like no one knows for sure. As of now, I don't know what the word is on Worley, if they're actually going to not let him go or if they are going to let him go, because I know he's filed a grievance as well. And that's all that lawyer stuff has got to take place. But as of now, Colby Payne is in, and I feel like he's probably going to – obviously he's in and he's going to go. The dilemma is, one, if Worley can go or not, I feel like. And then, two, I'm not sure if 16th guy, Brenton – I think there's a possibility that he's probably going to get to go because they took 16 bull riders last year, and they've taken 16 before. I mean, in my opinion, which I don't think it's much, but I feel like, if Colby won his suit, he deserves to go. He needs to go, and Worley deserves to go too because, we're 2 weeks away, and he's done nothing wrong to not get in.
Right.
I feel like it's fair that I feel like everybody needs to go.
Because as of right now, when I talk to you guys, so when I called all you guys for the NFR Showdown for my military event, trying to bring the top 15 to my event, I talked to you guys at that point in time. You're roping with Clay Smith.
Yes, sir.
Because Colby Payne was out.
Yes, sir.
Now, you guys been practicing? Is that
yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, Clay and I have practiced a couple times. X Factor's actually come out for 2 of our NFR practice sessions, and then we broke into steers, and that guy's – There's guys, and then there's men, and that's a man right there. Yeah, he's a different breed, and however it works out, I got to heel behind Clay in California for a couple of jackpots, and when you draw Clay Smith, you want to throw your hat, but just no disrespect to any other headers. I just feel like Clay Smith is one of the greats, and he will go down as one of the great headers in the world.
So if Worley is out and Colby Payne is in,
do
you know who you rope with then?
I don't know. I just don't know the business, or not somebody's business, the ProCom standards. I'm not sure how it's going to work. I'm not sure if they're going to reopen the entries and we're going to have to re-enter and re-sign contracts and all that stuff that we're going to open with this person, because, when you enter the NFR, it's a big deal that you sign contracts and a pledge to rope with your partner. And we did that, I think, middle of October, over a month ago. And now I'm not sure, because of the PRCA so-called they made a mistake with Colby, if everything's gonna be clean slate and everything's gonna be open again. I don't there's just a lot of unknowns. It could go 3 or 4 different ways.
It is. Yeah. It is. So 75 rodeos.
Yes,
so
sir.
Tell me what that's all about.
So we get rodeo counts in the timed events. Mainly, we all have rodeo counts. I think it was 75 for team roping, bulldogging, and calf roping. I believe was 80 this year. And so
it's still different in every event.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of differential in every event. The reason why I know that is because I rope calves a little bit. I know it's a little bit different, but you can only official the ones the 75 or the 80 or whatever it is, and then you can also unofficial throughout the year, but you have to declare that before the rodeo, and that rodeo does not count towards the 2023 world standings.
And so what I read, I think in the Team Roping Journal on Facebook, was that basically Kobe Payne called and talked to the PRCA. They told him he had this many rodeos left. They said basically that the 75th rodeo was going to be the Governor's Cup.
Yes, sir.
And then when they redid the audit,
yep,
found out that he was at 76.
Yes, sir.
At the Governor's Cup.
I believe that's what the discrepancy was, that he might have been one over the rodeo count, but he got the information from PRCA, so there's that discrepancy there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's wild.
And 2 weeks out. And then, like I said, if they do take 16, then you'll get to rope.
Well,
possibly.
Last year, I almost made the mistake, to be honest. I was at San Bernardino, and I thought I might have had one more chance. And I got a flight, and I flew back home, and I was going to go to Pasadena.
Mm-hmm.
Got a trade, kind of got it worked out, was going to try to go walk up over there, and I thought I had to win $200. One of my best friends, Hunter Cook, gave me Casino, the one he got from Jen Johnson had and Paul Leaves.
The horse?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, literally, like all my horses, I rodeoed hard. All my horses were smoked. We walked up at Poway. I think we missed the books, and so that rodeo was not processed on my account. And we walked, and I thought I had one more rodeo left, and then I figured out halfway down there, I'm looking through my notes, and I feel like the biggest retard in the world. I was going to be one over, and I ended up dropping Rogers off at the airport, and I just drove back home. I didn't even finish it and go down there but I just, it's easy to do. Like I tried to take really good notes and all, but last year I thought I had one more chance at Pasadena, and that was a long drive home because you think you had one more chance, and then I didn't. Yeah. And all I had to win was, I just needed to win a check, and I feel like I could have made the finals, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, I always said lessons learned is keeping your own records.
Yeah.
It is so hard, I think, especially with the glitch year. What about what was it, mid-year?
Yep.
What happened in the PRCA?
I have no idea. I just know that.
Did they get hacked?
I don't know if they didn't pay their privacy settings or something, and I'm not sure. I just know that half the time when you get on there, because for the first time, Brent and I did most of the entries this year, and my brother buddied with me, and I entered, and so Brent and I were on the books, and we got most of the trades, and I was all over it. I was entering 2 events.
When did it start? When did the glitch start?
I couldn't even tell you the exact date it started. I just know when you get on there, it wouldn't let you get on there.
Yeah.
And the only way you check is
because the lines were down, everything, right?
Yeah, it was a little havoc there for a little bit.
So the PRCA,
it was like a 5 or 6 day deal. I feel like
it was that long.
I think it was a couple days long where they had to reopen entries and do a couple of things and maybe not do things by the book because it was in a little bit of a storm. Yeah,
I knew right then and there, like that's going to be real tough to recoup from, just getting all your data back and things like that. But yeah, that you almost knew right then and there that was going to be tough.
Right. Yeah. And another thing too, I'm going to go back to in 2019 when the audit come out, I think I missed the finals by like 4,200 that year. And when the audit come out, I think I was at 73, or that was 65 back then.
Oh yeah.
I think I could have went to 2 more rodeos, but I was a rookie and I didn't keep notes, and I just went by the seam, the seam in my pants, and I just was in the back seat and rolling. Yeah. And I think when that audit come out, and I'm not sure if I could have really made it work or not anyway, because it was kind of same kind of deal where I showed up to Reno with 10,001, pretty much same kind of deal, and was going to try to make the finals. But I think when that audit come out, I think I was actually 1 or 2 off of my rodeo count than what I thought it was.
So other than keeping track of your rodeo account, what other stats do you keep up with through the year?
Catch percentage, and
how do you do that?
I just every good chance I get, I like to know I do my job. I feel like as a healer, heading is so hard. There's so many variables to be a header, and when you're rodeoing, it's hard to head. I mean, I think it's the hardest thing you can do. You got to score, and then you got to get on the horns, and you got to take care of your heeler, and then you got to finish the run. And I like to know my catch percentage and where I am at for me and for what I do. And then I also keep track of my calf roping, official, unofficial. And like this year, I had to be sharp in the books because I went to Canada. Brent and I went to Canada for a month. And so a lot of those rodeos up there, you had to call into ProCom, unofficial, get a confirmation, and we would text that back and forth. And we had to be really diligent on our books because you can go up there and the CPRA office and the PRCA office aren't the same office. So you had to correspond between the two. And so confirmations, try to text those out for certain trades or confirmations for unofficial. And then money one, I like to look back on the website even after and double check and make sure my money's, make sure I know what I've won in both my events.
When did you start keeping track of your catch percentage?
And this is where I want to talk about my catch percentage. I'm not doing my catch percentage to throw shade at anybody. I just do it for my peace of mind. But I like to know that I kept food on the table. Like
you do your job.
Yeah, I feel like as a healer, it's really hard to head, and when you get your chance, I don't care if your guy has had hell for a week. Everybody has hell when they head eventually because it's the hardest thing you can do with a rope to me because you got to take care of everything. And when you guys do a great job, my job's easy. But when I get one spun, it's my job to catch the cow. And I feel like when I can keep food on the table and catch my steers, that's my job. But I think I've done it the last couple of years, probably 2 years, I guess. 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
Has it stayed the same the last couple of years, I feel like?
Yes, probably. I'm going to say my first year I was somewhere in the 80s, and then my first 2 years somewhere in the 80s, and then I feel like the last 2 years I've been in the 90s, low 90s.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, sir.
What do you think you find out by doing that? Do you find out there's certain shots that you're able to realize maybe that's your weakness, or you're able to find out there's certain shots that like this one's not going to get missed? Do you find out kind of where your strengths and weaknesses are that way a little bit?
And another thing I like to do about it too is I feel like I get real comfortable in certain arenas. Yeah. Like knowing, like just after years of practice or not years of practice, but years of going to the rodeos, I feel like you get real, you go to Casper. Like when I go to Casper, I'm not going to get all the way at the end of it. It's a real narrow arena, and I need to find more off the left hip and have them pulling by me almost because it's really easy to get too square and get too far down the arena there. Cheyenne, I want to ride like this. And just as the more experience I've gotten, the better my odds have gotten, because you know how it is when you back into Salinas or Cheyenne for the first time and you're just wide-eyed and just you can have one of your mentors tell you what to do, and you're going to back in the box and you're just going to black out until you experience it for yourself.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been a heck of a year, but that's crazy going into 2 weeks before the NFR. And I feel like you have a possibility you could possibly be roping with 3 different partners. You might be able to rope with Clay Smith. You might be roping with Jake Clay.
Yes, sir.
Or you might get to rope with your partner.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I think
wild.
all 3 of those options, like you said, I think there's a possibility for all 3 of those.
2 weeks out.
Yep, 2 weeks out. So, I mean, they're just...
What a wreck.
Yeah, I mean... It's surreal to say, and it's funny we're even talking about it. I just couldn't imagine in a million years that there would be this kind of conflict going on.
With today's information age and digital,
yes,
it's hard to believe
with today's technology and everything that we have to offer, and we're crunching down, and then some guys may not even know who they're roping with, or they may be practicing with the wrong partner, or you know what I mean?
Well, I remember, I think it was 2005 when Chad Masters.
Yeah.
I think they told him at the end of the year he had 2 rodeos left, I believe.
Yeah.
And I forgot where in New York he went. He went from coast to coast.
New Jersey, probably.
Yeah. It was somewhere over there, and then sent a rig to Brawley, California.
Yeah.
So he went coast to coast from New York to California, sending 2 rigs opposite places and flying back and forth, and did what he needed to do that week.
Yeah.
Gets back home, and they said, oh, yeah, we were wrong on the PRCA count. You went to one. That last one didn't count, so you're out. And so he's on the opposite side of that now, where it possibly could go. But yeah, it's wild.
I think there's always in every era or every year, I feel like someone can write the same story in a different book. You know what I mean? Just like they can kind of give their own little what coulda, woulda, shoulda story.
Yeah, he just thinks sooner or later the PRCA is going to do better. you think?
One can only hope.
One can only hope for it being a professional event.
Yes, sir.
Because that's what, it's hard for Kobe Payne because, Kobe Payne's going to make his first NFR, but it's always hard when you make your first NFR and there's an asterisk kind of by it where there's, something that was drama that's outside of your control because he did do his due diligence. He asked and found out, what his rodeo count was. Then you got Worley.
Yeah.
He told me, he said 75 or 74 rodeos was all he went to because he wanted to make sure that he held that rodeo for the Governor's Cup. And so he did everything he needed to do. And,
well,
Worley was cool when I called and talked to him about it.
Right.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
He's
that guy.
You
he's
know
that
what?
guy.
I should have roped 2 feet at, what was the last rodeo? I think Mona, Utah,
and he slipped a leg. He healed him and lost a leg on a trotter.
Yeah.
That time of year when steers are really toast and they're not very good, and he drills him and loses a leg and sleeps in the back of his truck and then drives home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's.
But like you said, but for Colby's sake, if Colby is in the right and he won the lawsuit, he deserves to be there.
Absolutely.
And then Worley does not deserve to be there either 2 weeks out. I mean, it's just, you just want the best for everybody. You don't want no one to be left out.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, been calf roping quite a bit this year.
Yeah, I've
Tell me
been
about that.
tinkering with it a little bit. I bought a horse from Ren Richard.
And that was at the start of the year, right?
Well, it was actually in 22.
Okay.
In that summer. I never tried him. I took Ren's word, and Ren's never lied to me, and he's that type of guy. If I asked Ren a question and he knows horses, and I said, I need one that can run, and he's like, man, I got one. And I couldn't try him because my hand was still kind of broke, and I was coming back, and I was just heeling steers at the time using a medium soft or whatever I can kind of use. And he told me he had this horse, and I just went off his word. I said, if he vet checks, I want him, and I just wrote him a check. And I didn't get to ride him until really the next year, I want to say. And then I eased him along, brought him some rodeos. I took him to Canada, and we learned. It wasn't pretty. Some of the videos I go back and watch, and I just want to throw my phone through the window. And but that's the process. I mean, it's a process in general. But I was learning, he was learning, but it's been fun. This summer, about after the 4th of July, right when him and I were clicking, like I rode him at Pinoca, and he was unbelievable. And I didn't really enter over the 4th of July because I wanted to take care of my healing, and we were buddied with my brother and Josh Patton and Brent and I. So I didn't want to have a calf horse just in the way or whatever. So I didn't want to. It's hard to enter as it is because we were buddying, and then when I enter the calf rope, and I have to enter it separate because you can't cross event buddy with the buddy team. And so I never knew if I was going to get up the same, and I just wanted to take care of my priorities. And maybe I should have, been a little bit more free falling with it and entered or whatever. But it was a blessing anyway because my calf horse got symptoms of strangles. Brenton's Good Bay got strangles.
I remember you guys went through some horse issues.
Oh my gosh, we had a unique year. Right after 4th of July, we had an amazing 4th of July. I think we went almost 20,000. Placed, caught a lot of steers, did good. And then Brenton's like, man, my bay don't feel right. Like, he's sick. And we were in Basin City, Washington, and we were headed to Vernal. And he's like, man, I kind of want to get him checked out. And I said, hey, if you think your horse is wrong, if something's wrong with him, I said, we'll stop. So we stopped in Idaho Equine in Nampa, and we have 5 horses in my 5-horse trailer, and his bay's got strangles. And we're all looking at each other like, holy shit, because, strangles is the most contagious thing ever. So we get the whole rig, we scope every single horse we have in the trailer, and my calf horse had a couple sores on the inside of his throat that were, start of strangles. And not that he had it, no symptoms, but they scoped him. And so we left him there, and we went to Walmart and bought a couple $100 worth of cleaning supplies. And
some bleach and
for until 2 or 3 in the morning, I think, we cleaned the trailer, cleaned every bit, try to do whatever we could. And we left both them horses there. And I didn't get back on my calf horse until Caldwell. I couldn't even ride him in the first round. I rode him at Gooding, Idaho. And then Dylan Hancock and Ty Harris, they mounted me out at a couple rodeos.
So is that when your dad came up and grabbed some horses and took them back home?
Actually, Bambi did.
Okay.
Bambi, Rob took care of me and took care of them horses and got them kind of ready, and then brought them to me at Caldwell.
Didn't one of Brenton's horses also too get something with his throat, lodging something in his throat or something like that too? Or?
No, I think that it was just his bay. It was something different, but he had strangles, and then when Brenton brought his bay back, I'm not saying he wasn't the same, but he was hurting a little bit. Like something was a little off with him, and that horse didn't just feel 100%. And so he even got him back around Caldwell time, and not saying like we did what we could do, but that horse just wasn't the same horse.
Yeah. It's amazing where so many people don't realize is that, man, you can rope really good. Yeah. You can rope real good. Yeah. But there's certain chemistry you have on a horse that lets you win or doesn't.
Yeah.
And, it's the rodeo and so dang hard because how you make your living relies a lot on how your horse performs, and there's certain things you can't control.
I think Brenton said he rode 8 horses this year.
That's crazy.
I think I rode between calf roping and heeling, I think I rode close to 10. About the same. I mean, we had to do some MacGyvering around a little bit and making things work.
So you guys had a good 4th.
Yep.
And then talk to me about the trip between Salinas and going into Salt Lake.
Salt Lake, yeah. No, that was a crazy little 24 hours. Wyatt and Josh, Brenton and I won the first round of Salinas, and I placed in the 3rd or 4th round. Brenton and I did. And so I win like $3 or $4 grand there in the rounds, and then
because at this point in time, Peyton or Brenton's borrowing horses, right?
Yes, yeah. He got on my brother's good black that come from Logan Olson, and Wyatt and Brenton both rode him at Salinas, and that horse. We sent that horse
dirty as well at St. Paul too, right?
Yeah. So he rode because my roan kicked his bay. It was weird. It was like there was just one thing after another. Like my roan is not that mean of a horse, but he's a little bitty roan horse, and he kicked Brenton's big ass bay head horse and whooped on him in a hot wire pen. Well, he comes up a little sore, so Brenton rides dirty and sandy pretty much all through the 4th until Bell, and then he gets on his roan that he had it in South Dakota, and he gets on her, and he started just ducking him back. And he rode her for that whole month and a half, but then she ended up getting hurt, and then he had to just figure it out from there. So he rode Blackjack. The plan was to ride Blackjack pretty much the rest of the year and ride him with all the long scores and stuff. So him and Wyatt both rode that horse. Wyatt and Josh made the short round. They did good.
I rode,
yes, and they placed then the average and maybe in the short round. And I roped calves there on Dylan Hancock's Bay Earl, and I was 12 on my first one, was a little late, and I come back on the second one, and you've seen how Salinas is. They run the wrong calf in the chute. You don't check the draw at Salinas. You go check to see what you got, but like you can't see the calf's ear tag or anything.
Yeah.
So they load me the wrong calf. I rode down there, and I was a little late again because I was used to being the heel barrier. Like, just hits that much longer, and the calf roping is pretty short.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't used to being able to go. So I missed the barrier a little bit. I run him down there, and I make one of the best runs of my life on the ground. I go like 11.4 over halfway. Calf was amazing. Well, it was supposed to be Connor Atkinson's calf. So I come back on the one I'm supposed to run and end up screwing them up both for him and I. And I roped mine. I blasted barrier this time, but she wasn't very good on the ground. I was like 13. So I don't win no money, but I ended up winning the all around at Salinas. And because I was entered in 2 events and no one won money in 2 different events, but I won the most money out of all the guys. So, but I got the coolest buckle. I like the Salinas buckle is one of the buckles I've always wanted.
Me too.
My mentor, Marty Becker, he has a Salinas all-around buckle from 20 years difference, and it was just that buckle is always the one I've always wanted. Like that was just one of the 5. You know what I mean? There's a couple rodeos that you've always wanted that buckle. So I got that buckle, and then we get in the truck, and I get in the trailer, and we drive for a little bit, and I get in the trailer, and then we have a wreck, and we roll the trailer, and I jump out of the trailer, and we got.
Now, where were you at when this wreck happened?
It was on the Salt Flats, about 2 hours from Ogden, Utah. Okay. Just on those Salt Flats right there between Wyoming and...
And then you're in the living quarters.
I'm in the living quarters. Yeah. Don't tell the insurance that, but yeah. But I was in the living quarters, and it felt like you were in a... You know, like the videos of you get in one of them big boxes and you roll them down the stairs? That's kind of what it felt like. I felt like you were just rolling and rolling. So kind of get up. It's just surreal. Like you never feel like it's going to happen. So we get up on top of the trailer, and there's 4 horses that are nose down, manger door down.
So this trailer lands upside down.
Yes. Like the living quarter door is on top, and the side load is on top, and the manger door.
How did you get out?
It was on top. I just jumped up. The door was on top. They opened the door, and I just jumped up.
Wow.
And the four horses, nose down in the trailer. Well, actually, Patton's heel horse is standing up. I don't know how, but his feet are on the manger and his head's up, and he's standing up. But the other 3 horses, they are nose down. My old sorrel slider, he's in a bind. His head's stuck, and his legs are wrapped up in the dividers. And there's a cop that shows up, and he's just walking around nonchalant, and I'm freaking out. I'm telling him, like, you need to get someone here. We got to flip this thing over. At the time, I thought we needed to flip it over. Mm-hmm. I'm like, we got to get these horses out. And he's just walking around, like, kind of like he's just another wreck. But the people don't understand what horses mean to us. They just think it's an animal. And there were some great guys that showed up. I called a family friend, Jake Hannum. He knew a couple guys around there. And this man and his son come over there with a skid steer, and they brought a loader, and we go to work. We called Paden, and Josh Paden at Wild West Trailers. He called one of his buddies, got the planner of the trailer, and talked to him about how we need to get them horses out. And when Paden showed up, the fire department was there, and it was probably 45 minutes to an hour, and we started cutting stuff and getting stuff, trying to get horses out, and we cut by the pod, and we cut a big, rectangle, and we had to cut out each divider, put pads down because there's a bunch of shrapnel, and we try to hand load each horse out. My sorrel, I don't know how he lived. We had to put a pad around his front feet and then pull him out with a rope because he wouldn't get up. And then by this time, Dirty and Blackjack, Dirty, one of them had crossed over, stepped on slider, and they were both in the very end stall. It was a little bit bigger, and there was a little window, and we had to shut all the windows because them poor horses were trying to climb the walls of the trailer to try to get out. Mm-hmm. And Dirty, we finally got him up, and we got him out. And then by the time we got to Blackjack, he had just passed away. He lost air. He was fighting and trying to get out, and then he was just laying right there. So then we loaded up, and we headed out. And that trailer, I couldn't believe it, but we got everything, all of our stuff out of it. There was so many people there to help that were kind of driving by, and I can't name them all, but we were I literally throwing everything in everybody's trailer as they drove by. We filled up one trailer, they would leave.
Cowboys.
We filled up,
all Cowboys
yes,
going over.
Yes, sir. And that trailer, put it back up, slide worked, jack worked, and hooked it up to the same truck, and we just limped it 20, 30 miles, put it at this man's house. And then Wyatt and Harley, my girlfriend, and Paden went with me. They took the horses in a stock trailer, and Harley rode with Dirty, kept him from bleeding out.
Yeah.
Did what they could do, doctoring him up because his sheath was split open just from the shrapnel. Mm-hmm. And they rode in the back of the stock trailer to the vet. And I took Blackjack, buried him at this place in Utah. And then by that time, Brenton got there, and I jumped in with him, and we went over there and handled that deal, got my trailer put up, and then we went to the vet, checked on the horses, and then we were supposed to be up at Ogden, Utah that morning, and then we were supposed to be going to Deadwood, I think, the following day or something, and it was just, we had a lot of stuff. We sat down and had to go through everything and kind of talk and get a game plan. And luckily, Tom Glaus at PRCA, I called him, and he excused us from a couple rodeos. Mm-hmm. I told him, I said, man, I loved rodeo more than anybody. I said, but we just had a tragic accident, and we can't make it. And so he ended up excusing us for those rodeos. We got our rodeos back. And then that night, Brenton and I had a rope at the short round of Salt Lake.
So that night of the wreck, you guys roped at Salt Lake.
Yep. I mean, that was at 7 o'clock in the morning we wrecked. And then I think at 7.
So what did Brenton ride that night? And what did
he rode
ride
Sandy.
That night?
He rode Sandy, and I rode John Wick that round.
And those were none of the horses that were in the wreck?
No. Ben Jordan, we left our horses. So going back to Salinas, Brent and I jumped on a charter plane and flew back after we won the first round of Salinas. We win the first draw loper, won the first round of Salinas, go like 6-6. We get on a charter plane.
So the horses you rode were already staying there?
Yes, they were right by Spanish Fork.
Okay.
So we got a charter plane back, flew back, got them horses from Ben's house, hauled butt, barely made it in time for the rodeo, and we go 3-9 that night at Salt Lake, make the short round.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get back on the plane, come back. Well, we get back on them same horses left from there, and then we go to Salt Lake that night, and we're up and we're easing around. And of course, I haven't really ate, haven't really slept. I don't even have a shirt.
Emotionally,
yeah, just
physically and mentally, just have to be toast.
I mean, can't really sleep, but just it's just so real. Like, just can't believe it happened. More than anything, and 7 days later, Dirty passed away. Mm-hmm. More than anything, and I can tear up right now, I hate it for my brother. I mean, them two horses and where he was headed with his career, that Dirty that won't come from you, that horse was unbelievable. Brenton and Wyatt on that horse at St. Paul was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, they both should have won top 3 in the average on the same horse. And that's
I love that horse. That was a great horse. So I rode his half brother Nasty for a long time.
Yes, made the finals on him.
Made the finals, and I found one bred just like him. So it was Dirty, and Dirty was actually bred. You know, on the top side he was bred just like Nasty. On the bottom side he was bred like Andrew Ward's bay horse. Dirty Dale, and he was cool, and it was.
They were just clicking.
They were the same. They were the same person. They were both tall. They were both big.
Yeah.
And they both had the same personality. Dirty, he might wander off and go look for a squirrel, just like how I remembered Wyatt as a kid. They got
along
because
great.
it was such a great combination.
It was such a great fit because they just fit each other. And you know, when Dirty was a little greener and would do something silly, Wyatt just laugh at him. Like, he never got worked up. And then that black horse, my brother has placed at the BFI every year he's went. And the last 2 years when he's rode that black there, to me, he's been a top 5 header. Yeah. Like, that horse has let him maximize any steer. And when they rode him at Salinas, that horse won like $5 or $6 grand there, and we didn't even kill him over there. But that horse was that good at those kind of setups, and just felt a niche for him. But for him to lose both of them was heartbreaking. Yeah. I mean, I just hate it for him. Like, at first I wasn't as thankful as I should have been after the wreck because of what he lost. And I know we were thankful to be alive, and I'm not saying I'm not thankful, but at the time I just felt terrible for him because I know how hard he's worked. This is rookie year, and this is what he wants to do, and I've been getting to do this for a little while, and then I've seen him evolve. Like, honestly, I didn't know my brother could head steers like he could. I mean, from Greeley to Reno to St. Paul.
He kept getting stronger throughout the whole
year. He never quit spinning steers.
Yeah.
And he just and I'm not just saying that because he's my brother. I watched him spin every steer this summer, and I just have nothing but respect for him because I wanted it so bad for him, and I felt like he just got to that point where he was about to step over the threshold and just do his deal, and them two horses were gone. Yeah. And you know what? Hindsight's 20/20. Wyatt Bray still spun steers the rest of the year. It didn't stop him. It didn't matter what he was riding. He still spun steers. But anyway, so emotionally for my brother, I was very, very upset. And I was mad. I was a little bit mad. Like, not mad at anybody, but I was just mad at the situation because it happened to him. And to me, he's one of the best people in the world. Yeah. And I just hated to see it happen to him because I seen firsthand how hard he's worked and what he's done to get there.
Your dad, we talked that day when that wreck happened, and you know, your dad's obviously one of the guys I look up to the most in so many different ways, but it was how he handled it as a father. You know, God is good.
Yeah.
You know, he kept saying that. And, you know, he was obviously emotional. We were both emotional, but he kept saying God is good. He kept trusting God. He wasn't mad. He wasn't nothing to which that can easily happen in those situations. He truly lived out what the good book told him and how to respond to everything, and was so thankful that you guys come unscathed. I mean, there wasn't a scratch on either one of you.
No.
And, you know, he's kept talking about how God was good. And then to me that night, I remember watching Salinas on the TV, or watching Salt Lake on the TV that night. And to me, I could feel God's presence. Yeah. Because what did you end up doing that night?
It was, I think, the first team out makes a great run, goes 4-8. Second team out goes 4 flat, and we're third team out and we go 3-9. And at the moment I was just like, it just happened. Like I just, it's not saying it's a storybook ending, but Cinderella stories don't happen all the time. Not in the rodeo world. There's so many variables. And it kind of played out to be kind of one of those deals. And I was honestly in awe. I was a little bit in shock and I was a little bit numb because I didn't have no more emotion left.
Yeah.
I was very thankful.
Yeah.
But it was just very, I don't know, it was a slow motion feel to me. Like I told myself mentally, like, is it, you getting those, mentally I was like, okay, like you're here, you made it. I'm like, okay, like you think you're supposed to do good kind of deal. But I told myself, hey, run your fundamentals, do your job, whatever. Well, then the second team out goes 4 flat, and you're just like, you know what? I told myself, I said, you've been doing this all year. I said, you just freaking get square and have fun right here and finish it off. And I just try not to think about anything. I just try to react. And my partner, I seen him just kind of bring his rope back and forth, and I seen B Hall cock it. And then instantly I knew in my head exactly what was going to happen. I knew he was going to bring smoke. I knew I needed to get to the inside and heel this steer and win the rodeo, and that's exactly what we did. And
Yeah.
He came in clutch, and that was a big-time play, and we made it work.
I remember with all the emotions that went on that day, then to be able to come back and do something like that.
Yeah, that was God.
That's how legends are made.
That was a lot of God. That wasn't. I didn't eat nothing. I didn't really drink nothing. I felt like that was a lot of that was him, or felt if anything it was everything was him, because I didn't know how much really I had left.
Yeah.
And then nice thing after that was we got to see my parents and then kind of chill for a little bit after that and kind of get everything halfway square. And then it was 7 days later and we found out that Dirty died. And then it was just like, honestly, like you just opened up the Band-Aid again.
Yeah.
Like it was like Wyatt and I had a little bit of moment, and then he kind of needed to go by himself for a minute, and I was emotional for a little bit because it was like you thought you were over it.
Right.
And then when we found out Dirty died again, it was just like, gosh, like when's this going to end?
Open the wound
like
back
it's
up.
like a 2-week nightmare that hasn't ended yet.
Yeah.
So, but I felt like I thought that was just rodeoing, but this year I learned a lot about life.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about life. Like there's a lot of things that you can't control, and there's a lot of things that you can control. But the things you can't control, it's just best to let God take care of that and just try to do the best you can.
You know, that was hard because, we loved that horse and that was a tough loss. And, I was watching your brother just blossom. Man, he was sending me videos of Dirty.
7 years old.
Yeah.
7 years old,
such a
first
bright
year
future.
rodeoing on him, and that
was tough.
They just fit so good, and Brenton said that's one of the best horses he's ever rode. Like Brenton just jumped on him, and we were first team out of St. Paul and go 4.8.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not supposed to happen on an average horse. That doesn't happen on a great horse. That happens.
Yeah. I told Ken, I said, your dad, that I was thinking, if anyone needed probably some time off, come home and reset, like it would have been no one would have said anything if Wyatt decided to come home and just take a break. He don't.
You know what?
He stayed hooked. I was the first. The videos he sent me, he was getting stronger and stronger and stronger by the end of the year, and he was doing it.
So
I was impressed.
I was, at one point, I was just like, hey, I called my dad. It's been going tough. It was like that. He didn't draw good that week, and it was just slow, and they weren't winning, and it was rodeo, and it was tough. And I just told him, I'm like, hey, what about Wyatt goes home? What about he resets? Try some horses. Like I wasn't doing it because I didn't believe in him. Didn't believe in the team. I just did it because I just didn't know what was the best thing to do. And I got to thinking about it. And then Wyatt literally was like, we had a conversation, and he said, I'm not going home. And I told him, I said, listen, if you stay out here and you figure out how to spin steers and you stay on these other horses and you figure it out, I said, no matter what, I said, no one could ever take that away from you. And I said, and he did that and more.
Yeah,
he stayed out there, and Caldwell, he won that week. He won like $15,000, and then he almost win Kennewick, and like the big 2 or 3 head of rodeos. And I'll tell you what, like Wyatt, he didn't draw great either at some of them rodeos. And like the second round of Caldwell, his steer was strong and went to the left and not one of the ones you wanted. And he threw his 3 coils and went 5 flat and come back the short round, did the same thing. I mean, he adapted and he evolved as a header. And
I totally agree.
I mean, he like you said, it didn't matter what he was riding. He spun steers. I mean, he figured it out, and he got his feet wet, and he went to every rodeo, and he didn't quit. And no matter what happened, he never quit. And I respect him for that because, and honestly, being in the rig with him, I was more upset in a couple scenarios just because we were rodeo, and you know how it is when you're not winning or whatever. I was upset for him.
Yeah.
Wasn't for me. I was just upset the situation because it wasn't going as good as it should have went for him.
Right.
He just had so much adversity, and he just kept moving. He had the greatest attitude ever.
Yeah.
Like, he had a better attitude than I did, and he was going through all the shit.
I was just so impressed on how well, I mean, he managed himself, how strong he got, and he was going a lot of places he'd never been before, and looked like a veteran.
He entered everywhere I did.
He knew when to hold him. He knew when to fold him. He was fast when he needed to be. He was smart when he needed to be.
Yeah.
And then I was very impressed this year, too. You guys entered some rodeos right there because he didn't qualify into the winter rodeos from this year, correct?
Yes, sir.
He was outside there. So you guys had to start the season in October.
Yes, sir.
And you guys roped together, and how did that turn out?
I believe we officialed. I officialed 1, and he officialed 5 rodeos, and he has 7,601.
And so what does that do for him next year?
I think as of now, he is number 1 for New Year, and he gets into Houston and San Antonio.
You dang right.
Yes, sir.
So who do you think you're going to rope with next year?
The big guy.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's what we got home, and we did good at the jackpots, and we went rodeo on, and those are the toughest rodeos.
Yeah.
Rosenberg, Hempstead, Texas City. I mean, if you want to come make the New Year, come down to Texas and find out. I mean, it's retarded how fast it was. I think 4.7 or 4.8 was last hole at Hempstead, and and Wyatt Bray spun steers at every rodeo, damn near, and it was nothing.
So Wyatt
nice.
Bray and Paden Bray, or the 2024 team.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be fun. I tell you what, though, what do you think the obstacles are going to be between being brothers and partners? Because you know how it's a marriage. And he's also 6'9".
Well, the 6'9" takes care of a lot of it because everyone, and yeah, we'll cross those bridges when we get there. But we've rodeoed together for honestly off and on the last year or two, and we've jackpotted together a lot. And we like to keep business in the arena, and every night we have dinner as a family, and we try to leave
and your
everything at
brothers
the
when
barn.
it's all said and done.
Yep, and he is 6'9", and I'm not going to say I don't get a little bit hot-headed sometimes and want to win and, get in the way of myself sometimes. But at the end of the day, that guy, I know he tries hard. I know what he's about. I know his morals. I know his ethics. I know what he brings to the table. And I asked him, and I respect him for him. And when I asked him is the day I told myself that he is not my brother. He's my partner, and I believe in him. And him being 6'9" also helps too because he ain't gonna have no lip for me. So we're just gonna leave it right there. I've tried him on one time, and that's the last time I'm ever gonna try him on again.
So where do you think his toughness comes from? Do you think it comes from his mom? Because didn't you have an incident with your mom one time when you were sick and tired of her telling you what to do?
Oh yeah, yeah. I figured out real quick that Mom Bear swings a pretty big stick.
I love B.
Yeah, I did. I think one time I did just sulk up and tell her, like, I'm just about tired of you telling me what to do.
How did that turn out?
Oh, she beat the hell out of me. It's like I'm friends with a lot of these Canadians, and they're like, yeah, my parents never whipped me. And I'm like, I don't remember a week I didn't get whipped.
Didn't you have to go to, it was junior high, wasn't it? When your mom wore your ass out?
I don't know, but it does not surprise me. I mean, and I think if she still wants to, she can beat the door down and kick my ass.
Wyatt told me that you had to go to school the next day with a black eye and you had to tell everyone your mom kicked your ass.
Yeah, I know.
He said it was the best day of his life.
That sounds like something that probably happened. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. I tell you what, it was fun watching you guys grow up. You know, Jackie tells me stories of you guys all the time. She hauled you guys around there for, what was you guys' first trip? Was it Waco? The first trip she hauled you guys away?
No, we went to Duncan, Oklahoma. And that's what's funny that's how far Brenton and I go back. I don't even remember the dates on that. But Brenton's dad which he passed away, I think when Brenton was 16. And his dad was still roping. And Wyatt, Brenton, and a couple other kids, we were like in the junior, like in the real, we roped Holsteins and stuff. And Jackie, she's a badass. She roped beef calves.
Yeah.
But she took us to that roping in Duncan, Oklahoma. It was an ultimate calf roping, I think. And we were there for 2 or 3 days and entered up, and she took care of us. And then she also took us to the U.S. Open in Waco. And I think
wasn't it cold or something like that, and you guys had to get a room?
No, her generator wouldn't start.
That's what it was.
Her generator wouldn't start, so then we got a hotel room. And then I don't want to say what happened at the hotel room. But, yeah.
Yeah, I know she's proud of you guys.
Yeah.
You know, she's known you guys before I did, and but yeah, I've become big fans.
And then
of you
actually,
guys
I went down to a South Texas amateur, and I healed for her, and she took me to my first amateur rodeo. But shoot, I think during a lot of my summertime was at her place off kind of 30-25 when she and Jamie Roach and Kelsey and all them. But we'd go hang out over there, and Wyatt and I would go over there to get dropped off in the morning. And we'd stay at Jackie's all day, and we'd rope and practice and do whatever. But a lot of my summer days were at Jackie's house, and we were roping. What
do you think that what horse do you think you're going to ride this year at the NFR?
I'm actually going to ride. I think I'm going to ride Brady Miner's Shug, that sorrel horse, the spotted horse he got from Travis Woodard.
Okay.
The horse has been in the finals, I think 4 or 5 times. T-Wood rode him there. Powders rode him there 3 or 4 times, and I got to ride him at the Columbia River Circuit Finals this year, and I think he's 18, and that is one of the greatest horses I ever rode. Just really simple, no buttons. I mean, stand in the box like a wooded Indian and square up. And
so you think that's the best horse you've ever rode?
I think he's a great horse. I think
What's the favorite horse you've ever rode?
I'm gonna probably say, just because it's sentimental, probably the Sorrel Slider, my old horse. God, I don't know how he got out of the wreck, but he did. That tough sucker. To go back on him, Bambi is a saint. And after the wreck, the horse, once he was stable enough, I called Bambi, went and got him and took him to her place and spoiled him and turned him out and took care of him. And I actually got him at the swimmer right now, and I'm going to get to ride him again. And
awesome.
If I ever do get to ride him again, I don't care.
Yeah.
My girlfriend Harley, she likes to heel on him. Marty Becker, his girl, likes to heel on him. Bentley, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like if I compete on him again, whatever. But if he can, like a younger kid or a girl, could heel on him and enjoy him in the practice pen, and he gets taken care of, that's good enough for me.
Yeah. What was your favorite heel horse growing up? The one you watched growing up. What was your favorite one?
I always watched. This is Jackal and Switchblade. I mean, just the amount of guys that's rode them at the finals and stuff.
Jackal. Yeah.
And that was a big decision for me to talk to Brady about riding Shug. And I've never really done that before, but to me, like my horses, I like my horses a lot, but to me, you want a great one, and you want something with no buttons, and that horse has been there, done that. And there's something about riding a horse at that building as a healer that's been there, done that.
Yeah.
And you look at the guys that's won what they've won, it's been on older, solid heel horses that
lets them rope.
That lets them rope. And they're special ones, and you come across or whatever. But like when I feel like Jade, when he got on them horses, them older horses, not that Jade ever didn't rope get the finals, but them got in gold buckles.
What do you think? What aspects are you looking for in a heel horse for the NFR?
I just want something that's easy. It doesn't have any buttons. You want
They got to be fast enough, like leaving. Where
they got to be sharp. They got to score really, really good, because people don't realize how. What is it? 4 under there, correct?
Yeah.
So everywhere you go, normally it's even to 1 under maybe, and you're going there, it's 4 under. So it's 3 foot shorter than what it normally is.
Yeah.
And the guys today, and we rope steers that are very, very fairly fresh and really, really aggressive, and they're going to hit wide, and their end brands are full, and they aren't no day off.
Yep.
Like a normal person.
They are full contact.
A normal person can't rope those steers.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that to be a jerk. That's
just how real it is.
That's how
in a basketball court.
That's how aggressive they are. And so as a healer, I got to get down the arena far enough to where I can outrun the head rope and be in my spot and then heel a steer that's going to turn, and I'm not going to know where he's going to be at, and he might be 4 to 8 foot wide, and I got to put loop down and heel him in 2 jumps because you're going to get in the wall. So you need one with no buttons.
Yeah.
That's going to be automatic, and that's fast enough. It can cross over and get to your spot and then go ahead and stay with you, and then when you freaking get it on the wood, that they can go ahead and help your head or face.
Yeah, they can pull back so they can finish.
Yeah, and I think that horse has all those characteristics. I think Brady's had amazing NFRs on him, and I know T Wood roped great on that horse, and that was a lot of my decision is because I think my horses are good, and I'm going to say on my horses I feel like I can heel 8 out of 10. Well, on that one I feel like I can nail every one of them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like no matter what, I feel like that horse is going to give me a chance.
Well, I know I'm going to be rooting for you. I'm proud of you. You've had an amazing year, amazing career so far just for only being 24, and definitely rooting for you and your brother next year. I'm excited to watch. So do good at the NFR. I guess whoever you get to rope with, I know you'll do good. Yeah. And thanks for coming on the podcast.
No, I appreciate it. And it's crazy to say, and I'm a lot more thankful this year.
Yeah.
And I mean that because not making it and it happened to me a little bit my first year, because I feel like if I would have made the finals my first year, I don't feel like I'm not saying I wouldn't be the roper I was today, but not making it the first year is probably the best thing ever happened to me because I knew where I was lacking. I knew I had holes that I needed fixed, and I went to work and fixed a lot of those things, and those are the same fundamentals that I still use today. But as a guy that's done good and been really had great years, and had a guy that's had bad years, I'm just very thankful to make it this year. And if I rope with whoever I rope with, I'm just very thankful to get to rope with that person. And I'm very thankful that they're going to call my name with Thomas and Mack this year, because after missing it last year, it kind of does something to you.
Well, I know me and Jackie are thankful you're still here.
Yeah.
So thank God for that.
Yes, sir.
I know your parents are on the same boat as well. So.
Yeah. No, I know it's not just Thanksgiving time, but I got a lot of things to be thankful for. Absolutely. And I just pray I maximize the opportunities that I'm given.
You will. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, do good out there.
All
Appreciate
right.
you coming on.
Yes, sir. Thank you.